Showtime at the Apollo. Oh, hey, True Believers England team here. And I've got a video that occasionally this guy pops up in my feed. His name is Actual Fandom. I've done a video based on him before. I think he was going after Tristan. He used to be called something like Adversity in Comics. Well, this time around, he shows up and he's got the black pills in his sight. He's got Gary and the black pills. And I've called them out a couple of times as well. So I thought this may be interesting because I like to do things where I have to look into my own beliefs and such as well as put stuff out there. But this guy right out the gate calls these young gentlemen groomers.
Yeah, strawmanning commence.
Oh my lordy in heaven! I don't know where we're gonna go from here. So, anywho, you guys know, I think sometimes they could be, as I say, broken shopping carts that kind of veer off in the same direction no matter what. And so that's where I'm thinking, okay, I want to check through this. This guy's a douche nozzle straight off, as you're going to find out. And I found out in another video. No, he didn't go after Tristan. He went after Richard. He went after Diversity in Comics. And I even though I don't talk to him very often, as a matter of fact, I never talk to him anymore, I still think of Richard as a friend. So I had to go after him, and I like Gary. I still consider Gary a friend. So even though, yeah, I'll call him out when I think
he can be wrong, and
yeah,
we will mention when he's wrong. But
so
this guy goes full.
me.
This guy goes full. Anyone outside of my framework is by default immoral.
We're going to go over that. I don't want to jump the gun, but yes, that does happen here. So hello to Jay. Hello to Undead Quinn. Hopefully others will join in as we continue on. But considering this might actually take a little bit, I think we should go right on ahead.
Yep.
Make sure that you can hear it. This guy's... Can you hear this?
Yes, I can. He just opened with the Hans Zimmer bomb.
Yeah, this video nor statements therein are to be taken license to confront harasser. Yeah. Frankly, right there, I think it's ludicrous that we have to say that. You're freaking adults. You should know that, right? I mean, I've always thought but it's kind of a cover your ass. So
people have individual agency. They don't get, you don't blame the rock star for the people in the mosh pit.
Right. I'll cover my ass by saying you're adults. You know what's right and wrong. There you go. I am not calling on anybody to go after him because, frankly, I need to make the videos myself.
Like
okay, let's
get
like, okay. This is
I think it's a real.
What this is there. He invited people to talk about Gary and the Black Pills.
You know, I could talk about why I don't like anti-fandom, but I'd rather talk about why I like the term anti-fandom, because I think it's a really good term.
Okay, I looked it up, by the way. Anti-fandom is basically people who don't like something. But at the bottom, somebody wrote in anti-fandom, go after people based on skin color and sexual orientation and so yabba dabba babba, you know. So
again, everyone outside my framework is by default immoral because I say so. The same old song.
Anti-fandom, this movement isn't about fandom or the media. It's about power. It's about brotherhood and ganging up. It's about feeling like you know some big secret, like you're the little guy taking on the big, shadowy, leftist woke powers.
But that's kind of true, though, is the problem. Sometimes.
No, well, here's the thing. YouTube is about confirmation bias. And when you get together and when you're against something, and I used to be very much, somebody actually called me out on dipping my toes into what used to be Comicsgate or going after the woke, so forth. You know, I don't do it as hard as I used to. Hey, DeBizzle, what's up? I don't go as hard as I used to. Therefore, you know, I'm not one and I get it. But the reason why is because there is something called confirmation bias. And what you end up getting is a whole bunch of people that aren't there for the comics as much as they're there for the arguments, for the battle.
At the end of the day, it's make-believe. It's playing pretend for adults, or, you know, man-children. Despite what any of them say, it isn't about fandom. It's contrary to the definition of fandom, which is basically liking things.
By the way, I have called this out so much. Gary, everything looks the same, man. And how many times can something be doomed or dead? Simon Pegg is named appropriately. He's always been a bitch and always will be a bitch, says Jeremy Prime. I have no idea.
Things together as a community. The end result of all this is...
Oh, and we're going to get to make Marvel male again.
It's just a vortex of hate and misery. And it's all revolving around this missing center where the media or the community or the liking should be, and it just isn't.
Okay, right away, he says anti-fandom is a fandom based on hate. It's not really being a fan of something. The thumbnail I have here is stop, you're an anti-fan. Only actually fans welcome. And in the bottom, I say only no real fan questions modern day writers, because that's what's going on here. Actually, the reason why someone like myself will complain about, say, Amazing Spider-Man number 24, bad comic beatdown coming on that one real soon, is because we like the character of Spider-Man. We love the character of Spider-Man. So when somebody is taking Spider-Man out of what he really is, when they're removing the core of Peter Parker, we have to speak up. Hello, last thing we need are black pillars telling us to give up on saving comics from the leftist.
Yeah. Well, while we were discussing this, I liken this fallacy to the difference between someone enabling a drug problem and calling that love versus someone who stages an intervention. And I would add to that if you like a given piece of media, regardless of what is done to it, or regardless of the characterization, regardless of the world building, regardless of any of that, what exactly is it that you like? If you don't have some standard by which this far no further, this is no longer recognizable as the thing I like, what are you latching onto to like it?
Well, I had this conversation with one of the Marvel editors about 4 or 5 years ago when we were bringing up Sam Wilson, Captain America. And it came down to, I asked, you know, if Sam could fill the outfit, and especially now, you know, now you have some gay guy on the rails, you have an Indian guy, so forth, and they're all calling themselves Captain America, and Marvel seems to be okay with it. I said, then you don't care who's in the suit. You just care about the suit. And that's what a lot of people are. Okay, Ironheart can be Iron Man because you don't give a shit about Iron Man. Iron Man is Tony Stark and so forth. Yeah, there are new comic books coming. There are new comic books in the auction this week. I just didn't do a unboxing thing. All right. The fandom is a community of people built around a deep shared appreciation and passion for a thing. Okay, and anti-fandom describes the opposite of community built upon shared animosity or antagonism of it. Now, listen, I've seen some thumbnails. I haven't watched their videos in a long freaking time, right? But it does look like they are more out. Like I said, they act like they win a prize when a movie bombs, or if a comic book. Look, I get it. You want to blast something that's bad, but it seems like there's a celebration of when it's bad nowadays. So I could kind of see that.
Oh, it's the stunning and brave. Oh my God.
Fast forward with logos.
No matter bully you.
Okay.
And for how hard it hits you.
Hundreds to thousands of people sent to call you names, to bully you, to intimidate you.
Can you guys hear this in the chat?
They are sent to hate on you.
And perhaps much worse. This is what happens when
they're here to hate on you, or perhaps much worse. What much worse? You think Gary's calling for people to go beat the shit out of somebody?
Yeah, that's the insinuation. The insinuation is that everyone who disagrees with my framework is a subhuman animal and doesn't have basic human decency. Therefore, they could be spurred to violence over the tiniest thing.
Yeah, that's
the insinuation.
This guy is just out of his gourd. Zio Gold, thank you very much. DeBizzle saying yes. Jay's saying yes.
Here's the anti-fandom bubble. It's not fun. Because this soy shit's been so disproven, and you love to use it.
It's a nice way of not calling you gay. You know, like in the old way of like people used to say,
let me ask
dude,
you
stop
this.
being
Is
so
gay an insult?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to say something here. I am not a big fan of the use of slurs. I'm very much not a big fan. I've heard soy boy used, and I guess that's like you said, it's a nice way.
Man in a wig is another one, although that one seems to have died.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of the F word for gay people being used on my channel, and you notice. So I've never been actually comfortable with that, tell you the truth.
But it's also not entirely unexpected.
He's a great supporting character and a supporting actor, which is what Diego Luna should be. But of course, Diego Luna has the diversity aspect, and they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
When you decide to call out these top,
I don't know what this is in context of. From what I understand, everybody liked Andor. So is this a video that was made before it?
The insinuation that the video editor, I think, is trying to get across is Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers is saying that minority characters are acceptable, but they always have to be in supporting roles, even though that's a absolute straw man to the extreme of what he was. You know, it's not at all what he was saying.
Well,
but
you know,
that's the insinuation.
I can see it if he's talking about, look, you get a side character. He was not the main character in Rogue Squadron. So you look at it and you go, he really shouldn't be leading a movie. It just, he's a side character. Do we really need to see his story? Blah, 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 yada, yada. Same thing with Han Solo. And nobody really needed to see a Han Solo movie. And I would dare to say that Han Solo was a bit bigger than Diego Luna. That being said, I have not heard anybody say anything bad about Andor. So once again, I'm probably going to say this over and over again. They come out and they say stuff like, well, he's got the diversity thing, but do you really care about that? Or do you care about the fact that it's good and or bad script?
Yeah, the merit of the storytelling. And that's something I was just going to say is I don't mind getting side character stories and stuff, and a Han Solo movie I still maintain could have worked if they had paid attention to anything resembling the lore or the respectability of the character, but they didn't. Right. And that's the problem. Okay, you can tell a good story about anything, you just have to put work into it, and they're just not willing to put the work into
what they are, which is just a cesspool of bigotry.
I got these faggots like responding to Comicsgate elves.
What's more racist, calling somebody a nigger or doing a lynching?
Okay, see that right there? I'm sorry. I do not support that shit at all. And that right there is said to activate people who agree with it, to get people who don't agree with it angry. There's no need for it. There is no need for it. That's shock value for shock value.
Short answer to the question, though. The N-word is just a word. Lynching is an actual action. Actions will always be more influential than words. Therefore, I would say, granted that it's a stupid question, but the answer is the action is worse. Duh.
Zia Gold saying, holy crap, this guy is projecting. It's leftists that harass, dox, and call for violence. More often than not, sir, yes.
Or the worst of the toxic community gather.
A white guy will eat a piece of chicken and be that's some good chicken. Watermelon's so good. Black people will eat it and they say, that's some good watermelon.
You'll get pushback. And even if you think you're ready for it, it'll hit you harder than you expect. When many big studios made it clear that they would be making an effort to be more inclusive with their projects involving more women, people of color, and members of the LGBTQ+ community, most people had our reaction.
Stop.
Nice. It's about time.
Okay. it doesn't matter the palettes and the persuasions of the people you put in things if they're all operating under the same framework. The only diversity that matters is diversity of viewpoint and thought, especially when you consider that you don't actually want representation of actual people within those demographics. You assume there's some kind of identitarian hive mind between them and that identities are teams by default. And speaking as a gay crippled dude, you can go screw yourself.
Also, I think what most people have problems with is how they're handled. Right up here, we've got Falcon, which you guys know. I'm sorry, but how can you see it as empowering for a black man to give up his identity to take the identity of his more famous white partner? That's not empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we've got the Pride books. We also have Aquaman there, which, by the way, also, you never write a character who is gay. You never write a character, and by this I'm talking about the modern writers, and they never write a character who is black. They never write a character who is a woman. They write a caricature.
They write a character who's an avatar of gayness or blackness or whatever ness based on their definition.
Never a full-fledged three-dimensional character, which we have had all the way up until 2013 when this SJW then woke agenda has taken over media and such. I said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. This is not representation, it's presentation. Hey, look, guys, they're this or they are that, and that is all that is cared about with this. All right, let's move on.
Mm-hmm. Moving forward.
Largely done just because public opinion had shifted so far into supporting this that they can't ignore it. We don't delude ourselves.
I'm sorry. This was made a few days ago. I know I've had this up, so that is not right. It was made sometime last week. Black Lives Matter. Has that not been debunked? Has that whole freaking thing not been debunked? These people are just ripping people off.
Yeah, but
how are you putting that up there? And here's another thing I've said before, and I'll say again. If you cannot see black people in all people, that's on you, bro. You are a racist, period. Or if you're angry, exclamation point. Can't believe people are writing this shit up and still supporting Black Lives Matter.
It's done for money, but it's a step in the right direction. You take the wins where you can and then continue to push for more. But that's not.
Oh, that would actually be good. Yeah, let's talk about the wins. But the problem is there are not a lot of wins. Frankly, I see Kamala Khan's TV show as one of the wins. But exactly, when are they going to be writing more than just a caricature or something? Let's see. We got control the context, control the narrative, says Jay Lucian. He would fit in with CNN.
Yep.
And let's see, Black Pills Matter, says Jay Lucian. Black Lives Matter is a joke. They don't actually care about black people, and this is coming from a black person, says DeBizzle. One thing I've always noticed that bothered the crap out of me. You would say, well, what about black on black crime? They always said, and I mean, for 5 years, they said, well, we're not talking about that now. You never freaking talk about it. You're not going to actually help black people if all you're doing is saying it's white people's fault. That's taking everything. That's taking agency away from black people.
They don't care about the individual people. They care about the idea they have in their heads of blackness, and they only care about those people insofar as they are avatars on Earth of that idea. That's why when you stray from the box they put you in, you get called internalized depression, internalized, pick your hate word. It's because if you don't think the way we think you should think, then you have Stockholm syndrome and have been turned against your own kind and secretly hate yourself. That's the only reason they can think of as to why anyone would disagree with the framework.
Zia Gold is saying leftists will continue to defend Black Lives Matter since it's a group of commies that hate white people. I think they hate just people that don't.
Well, it is nihilistic, but I just want to put this asterisk here, which I'm going to keep putting wherever it needs to be put. It's not a left versus right issue. It's a authoritarian versus libertarian issue, because I'm speaking as the token lefty, and I'm usually the token lefty on this channel. As you all know, I viscerally hate the ideology of social justice, and I always will. So it's not leftism, it's not rightism, it's just one kind of moral authoritarian trying to fill the vacuum of the previous moral authoritarian regime, basically.
Yeah. Undead Quinn is saying he wants my shirt, my Florida tuxedo here. It's actually, it was a gift from my wife. I really dig it when she gives me these kind of things. I've got a Mickey Mouse. I got a Mickey Mouse shirt like this somewhere around. I kind of dig on. Yeah, Mickey over Disney nowadays. You know, I prefer the characters and the old stuff than anything new. That being said, let's move on. Okay, I left a link.
Not what these channels
in your
push
DM.
For. They want art to go in the opposite direction.
Okay. Let's talk about it. I've mentioned this before, so excuse me while I rant. Make Marvel male again. MCU. Gary, I think it's brilliant that you thought of the MCU. It's very simple. It's catchy. You can sell T-shirts. It's awesome in that way. But I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit, and I'm calling bullshit on Make Marvel male again. Once again, you get to rile people up. They go, yay, we're winning, or yay, we're losing. It's all, but if I ever saw anything that was for clicks and views and not sincerity, it's Make Marvel male again, and it's MCU, because you're not going to fucking tell me that you would not accept an excellent She-Hulk movie or a wonderful Black Widow movie or any of the female DC Marvel whatever. Did you have oh, it's the DCU, they made a Wonder Woman movie? No, Wonder Woman was fucking awesome. I don't watch the videos. I don't watch the videos. So you may be absolutely 100%, hey, you know what? Female heroes are wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But what's on the thumbnail, what's in the pictures is Make Marvel male again.
It's what we call
you're putting the worst foot forward when you do it.
It's what we call an optics fail, because it actually allows the SJWs to win the framing game, because the place we should be winning is that feminism is not synonymous with womanhood or women. The LGBT movement is not synonymous with gay people. Black Lives Matter is not synonymous with blackness, and so on and so forth. They want to claim they are the ones who speak for these demographics. And by taking up the opposition role, you're conceding the ground. You're saying that feminism is women. You're saying that, you know, the LGBT movement is gay people. And I don't agree with that. Partially because I am some of those minorities, but whatever.
Well, let's say hello to LK. What's up?
Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
As our resident black pill. Welcome. You can add in a...
yeah,
it is. You found your niche in the group, man.
Oh yeah, I mean it's tricky. I chuckle at the posts it's on here, and I understand Dalton's point. I think the thing is that folks like Jeremy and what have you have said before, and there has been the refrain of, no, we're not against, female movies or whatever. We're against bad female movies, but
they're not saying it doesn't say the MCU. Let's make good female movies. They're not saying make Marvel. Yeah.
But again, I mean, you can only say that, so many times. And again, talking about, the framing, and this goes with, right now, any culture, divide, issue, war, whatever phrase you want to use, and same with the political, is that, and I saw it, with Gamergate, and before, Comicsgate, and what have you, is that whoever has the media advantage and the money advantage controls the framing, and it's always going to be naturally basically to the left. I've seen this, time and time again, because again, one of the favorite tactics of the progressives and leftists is, let's take, any environmental issue, and they'll say, oh, are you for or against clean water, for example? Well, of course, just about everybody
Who wouldn't be, etc. And then
water.
they tie in the global warming stick.
So you're for clean water, then therefore that means you have to support all my insane progressive ideas. And if you don't,
especially if I call it the green,
they'll do that.
They'll kill women and children.
They'll do that with conservatives, where Reagan might disagree with something that we do today, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I agree with damn near everything Reagan said. Not that.
You can still be wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Trump. I support Trump. I don't support every freaking thing he's ever said or does. And right now he's being a douche nozzle. But what you gonna do? If he gets the nomination, I'm going to vote for him. Let me get a comment and then let's move on. Because the guy who made the Make Marvel Mail shirt is a neckbeard that knows left. I have no idea who that is, Zeo Gold. I can't really say. Gary is running as rage bait, but that's why I don't watch it, says Undequin. Once again, I can't comment about what's in the videos anymore, because I'll watch like Gary do a review of something, but usually when it's stuff like that, I don't watch Friday Night Tights or anything like that anymore. It's a one note to me.
Yeah, well, I'll say real quickly, because as somebody who has watched Gary and certainly watched him, early on.
I did too.
That it's interesting because I've watched him go from kind of a classic old time California liberal into very much more of a center right person, and at the same time, I'd say as much of it is he hasn't necessarily changed. It's that the window moved to the left of him, and so suddenly his same positions are now center right.
One thing I will,
guys, let me continue.
Okay.
Because we need periods, not commas, as I was telling Dalton before we started, because this is a 20-minute video and we're already 30 minutes in. So all right, and we're 5 minutes into the video, but we're 30 minutes into our commentary. Okay.
I mean, we're doing better than Mark 1, so that's fine.
True. That's true. All right, let's continue.
So it's EFAP.
And make claims like keep politics out of it, identity politics, PC, SJW, pandering, tokenization.
All right, let's go through this. We're gonna wipe out everything I just said about hurrying along. Keep politics out of entertainment. That is not what people say. Okay, some people do say that, and occasionally they'll quote the dumbass that does say it.
It's imprecise is the thing. But
yes, politics have always been in comics, and let's keep it around there, and in the movies, that the superhero movies and such. Politics have always been in comics, but as I said before, politics would be that bullying is bad. Okay. Nowadays it would be Trump supporters are bullies. Why? Well, if you followed anybody but Trump, you would know. You're a bully. You're bad. You're a Nazi. Wait, what? You're Nazi. Why? Because you follow Trump. And that's modern day politics.
And the thing I usually say is there used to be a difference in the way politics was done, because politics was seen as an extension of philosophy. So it wasn't this is a settled issue and we have the one correct answer. It's let's actually present in as charitable a light as possible as many sides as there are as we can cram in, and treat it like a philosophical issue. Now it is one-dimensional. We have the single correct answer. Any other answer is either inadmissible, naive, stupid, or immoral. Usually some combination of the three. And therefore politics is a settled canon of answers rather than an open philosophical discussion.
Identity politics, we've talked about that. It's ridiculous.
Identities aren't teams. People are individuals. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah. What identity politics shows is to me, it shows that they are racist.
Yeah.
Because they group everybody in. Like all gay people have to act like name a gay writer who's on the other side.
Well, they have to act like Big Gay Al, basically.
Well, there you go.
From South Park.
And I mean, the other part of identity politics, especially when it comes to comics, is, and we've talked about this before. You've hired Alyssa Wong. Oh, well, she can only, well, of course, she only wants to, but she can only write Asian characters. Yeah. How many times?
I mean, Christopher Priest is the perfect example. He actually left the industry for a while on the basis that they were only letting him write black characters.
Yeah. And more importantly, too, again, Sienna Grace, another perfect example of, and when they do write, quote unquote, their characters, as E said, they write them in the most stereotypical, flamboyant way possible.
Because they only care about the idea having a representation on Earth. They don't care about whether it actually reflects the people in question.
PC and SJW is basically the same thing in this context. SJW being somebody who, once again, and as a matter of fact, PC, SJW, and identity politics all form along the same lines. If you're white, you are the big protector. Everybody who is not white is below you, and you have to protect them. You have to remind everybody that you are evil for not wanting to protect or not seeing somebody who is not white as weak or stupid in some sort of ways. Take Joe Biden saying that black people can't work computers and what is it? They can't find the DMV to get a license and such like that. Tokenization. That is tokenization being basically, hey, we're going to have a new black character. Yeah, really? Who? Superman.
That's
not a new. Well, he is, because now he's black. Why don't you create a brand new identity and a brand new character? Well, we don't want to do that because it's hard to make a new character famous, and famous characters are already famous, so we could skip a whole step. That's the argument we all get.
Speaking for myself, I have a different definition of SJW. I expanded out to moralizing socio-cultural authoritarian, because I have no problem seeing the Helen Lovejoys and Frederick Worthams of yesteryear as basically right-wing SJWs. To me, an SJW is anyone who insists on their morality being sacrosanct in the public sphere and being able to control society and culture. That, to me, is an SJW. Yeah. Therefore, the family values tradcons of yesteryear, the Helen Lovejoys, are just as bad as the Karens in my personal framework.
Yeah. I'm being asked, who do I think is more opinionated, Gary or Eric July? Look, I actually stopped watching Eric July, Young Rippa. I stopped watching him because I saw him do too many movie reviews using other people's opinions. Like I didn't see the movie myself, but this guy right here is saying, and I've seen that way too much. He's not reviewing the movie. He never saw it. He's giving you other people's opinions and say, I agree with it, which is bullshit, because he could do as easily bring in a good review and say, well, this is my opinion too. It doesn't matter. So I've seen Gary's opinion. Eric July has had too many times I've seen him give someone else's as his own. So I would have to say Gary's more opinionated, but actually I will say that as a good thing. I mean, agree or disagree, like him or not, he's giving you his own experienced opinion when he reviews something. And to me, that means the world, versus somebody who doesn't go out and read or doesn't go out and watch something and then says, well, this guy says this, I haven't seen it, but I agree with him.
Yeah. Let's move it along, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was sorry, I just wanted to add real quick. I mean, the other thing I'd add, the component, the SJW side, is and going with the morality part, you can't have a policy discussion with an SJW because everything is either a threat or some kind of existential crisis, to where if you disagree with them, then you're a threat to them, the planet, etc.
And there are certainly people like that on the other side as well, which is why I expanded out like I did.
Let's move on.
The message.
Sacrificing story for agenda, or the current grand catch-all woke.
Okay, woke in a lot of circumstances is the same as PC and SJ. So I said it before. Nobody's caught on to this, but I said the social justice warrior. Woke is what social justice warrior does.
The truth is, these are all buzzwords used to dog whistle and hide their true meaning. And it all boils
hold on
down
a
to
minute.
this.
Wait, they're going to tell us what people think. Okay, go on ahead.
Hold on a minute here, though. I remember the late 90s and early 2000s, and I remember many of the complaints that people in the independent scene and the punk movement had was basically when stories would have to bend to traditionalist values, and therefore was basically sacrificing story for agenda. So when your side is the one who controls what morality is, you don't see it as sacrificing story for agenda, but when the other side does, you do. I can look at both of you and go, I would rather both of you shut the fuck up. But, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I also love I also love videos here where obviously this guy's going to completely ignore all the buzzwords on his side of the aisle.
Oh, most definitely. He already has a couple of times.
Hatred of women and minorities.
Okay, I'm going to back up here. He says you're missing the dog whistle because what it really is all about is their treatment of women and minorities. So let's watch the videos he's showing.
And it all boils down to the same thing. Hatred of women and minorities.
Not one, by the way. Now, this is, what is it? Babylon? That was a flop. Thor, it had the worst drop ever. Okay, at the time. Ant-Man wasn't a success. Sorry, guys. There's nothing on there that you're trying to say is... really bad. That's really bad.
Hello. I guess I just want to have a little chit chat. Something that's been on my mind lately. Over cynical reviews of pretty much non-consequential media. I'm not even sure I'll call it cynical, as more bashing. A lot of it's based off of perception of like representation and all that stuff. You hear these buzzwords and you hear them all the time. Man, just trying to sit down and enjoy something.
Marvel died after Endgame. You know, the next phases aren't going to be good. I've argued people about that one as well. And then
what's wrong with that phrase?
It ended after one storyline, guys. We're totally not going to stick around for the next one, derp.
Yeah.
You know, when you sit there and try to have that experience, it kind of takes you out of it. Kind of ruins the experience.
Okay, here's this guy just said, if you're trying to enjoy something, you're trying to have a great experience, and then they come along and they destroy it, don't watch. if you don't like Gary and the Black Pills, once again, greatest 50s rock and roll band name ever. If you don't like them, then don't watch. It's on you. I say this too many times about too many things. It's on you if you're letting other people destroy your good time.
Also,
look, I review things. If I review it negatively, that's because I thought it was, you might enjoy it. But this
also, if you think they're wrong, there is an option. It's been an option that we've had on YouTube for ages. Do a response video and call them out when you think they're wrong. I will vouch for myself. I did this with Gary's Multiverse of Madness review because I noticed that a lot of his criticisms were based on not watching the movie he claimed he was watching. I.e., he made erroneous complaints about stuff that was either explained in a different part of the movie, explained in a media that directly tied into the movie, or he would have known from some semblance of comic book lore that the movie was adapting. So yes, I agree. Don't let their overly cynical takes take the piss out for you by arguing against it when they're wrong.
Did your life change that much over one show, one movie? No, it's just a moment in time.
If you care, it would.
And I hope you all have a good day.
They have a memorial to George Floyd.
This is Ryan Kinnell, an alt-right YouTuber. He's the perfect example of the most insidious, toxic type of anti-fan.
George Floyd Memorial.
With Ryan.
Did he have COVID denier up there? I saw COVID denier.
Oh,
yep.
Probably got every ism he can lob on.
Well, but while we're here, dear anyone post about 2017 alt-right doesn't just mean any alternative position that happens to be on the right. The alt-right was an offshoot of the anti-SJW community, led by people like Richard Spencer and Jean-Francois Gary P., who took the message wrong and thought we needed basically softcore white nationalist identity politics. No one uses alt-right the way it should be used, which is why it's important, once again, being a philosophical spurgle like I am, to define your frickin' terms before you use them, especially in contentious arguments like this.
I've said I noticed they never actually just say right winger. I'm not a big fan of Ryan Kennel, but and mostly because that the crassness with which we just saw. Let me continue.
Ryan is Alex Stein, employee of Glenn Beck's Blaze TV and far-right propagandist. Ryan made a lot of videos about the She-Hulk series on Disney+, many of them before the show ever came out.
It looked bad. I mean, if you're audience, let's go with this right here. If he made a She-Hulk looks like crap video and it really hit, then he's going to double down on those She-Hulk looks like crap videos. That's actually what you're told. When it comes to building a channel, when it comes to getting more and more clicks and views and watch time, if you find something that works, go after it. And that's why Gary, he grew, because he kept making Game of Thrones last season sucks videos. I can't do this. I get bored. After a while, I feel like, wait, I said this yesterday. And so God bless him for being able to get through it. But that's what you do, and that's not saying Ryan's a good guy, bad guy, whatever, but that's what he's doing.
Also,
what
was the main argument against She-Hulk? Part one, it was a disservice to the character, and part two, it was a hollowing out of the character to make her a intersectional feminist mouthpiece. Those are two complaints that you could only make if you cared about the character.
Yeah.
To say in every video.
Seems like nobody really cares about She-Hulk. To promote a garbage series that nobody gives a fuck about, they're using this character in his...
Yeah, he's
bullshit. People care about She-Hulk. That's why they were mad.
When I heard that they were doing a She-Hulk TV show or movie, whatever, I was excited as hell. I love She-Hulk. Love She-Hulk since 1980. I was there when it came out. I bought it off the rack, kids. You know what? Yeah, this is, and you know what? After it came out, I actually cared. I watched it because I was praying, please get better. That second episode, man, lit me up because I thought, wow, that was a good episode. This is where I want the show to go. And unfortunately, it didn't.
I saw the warning signs in the first episode, which is why if you go back and watch our first viewing, I was like, are you sure about this? You're being a little bit too charitable.
Yeah. Do you want the black pill opinion here?
Of She-Hulk? We already got it. Brian, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I saw the warning signs even before, the first episode. It was, based on, the direction that the previous MCU Disney Plus shows had gone. It was the fact of the showrunner that was announced and some of the comments that she made, months before the show came out. And then I watched the first episode and I was so disgusted I never went back.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, moving forward.
Is in-costume reveal in a show no one cares about to get people excited about a show that no one cares about.
This is not how a fan behaves. It's also not how a non-fan behaves. If he's not interested in the show, why does he talk about it so much? Well, his interest isn't in the show itself. It's how many clicks he can get off of telling people that nobody cares about the show.
Here's the thing. I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about him that I don't know if that's true or not. Is he a fan of comics? Does he know She-Hulk from Savage She-Hulk to Sensational to...
or is he just bandwagoning off of people like Gary?
Yeah, I have no idea what his
on.
fandom is. If you guys know him better, you could tell me. But in all honesty, yeah, once again, he's the one that actively turns me off as far as wanting to be a fan of any of these guys. So
the issue is that the people who made this video are conflating people like that with anyone who criticizes the direction of any given IP, no matter how much their criticisms are rooted in in fandom complaints.
Let me explain something what you're seeing right here. Obviously, there was a little bit a while back, you know, Lucas confirmed as LGBT, and it wasn't confirmed, but he then says, because Disney hates Star Wars and the fans. And what's that? That is supposed to help out with you and I. You're the viewer. I'm the guy that's saying what you might not have the platform to say. I am the one that's out there heading the team, basically. You need me to tell you about all the shitty things that are going on. Can you believe this? I love Luke Skywalker. You love Luke Skywalker. I love Star Wars. You love Star Wars. And look what they're doing. Disney hates you. Disney hates you. So come on over. We'll talk about that. We'll explore, why do they hate you when you supported them all this time? It's supposed to kind of help build the group and make
camaraderie.
Make it feel like you are a part of this big battle and such. That's a little bit behind the scenes stuff. It's and it
only works because corporations do very often go out of their way to spite the fans like nobody's business, because they consider catering to the fans to be immoral.
Also, you are told to put a title when it comes, like when you're going through the I'm building a YouTube channel thing. There will be little tutorials, and they say you want to make a title that will invoke an emotion. And anger is the most easily manipulated emotion. So if I could put this whole thing, if every title I have, you'll see me do it from time to time. Even I'll put in something and it won't work, and then I'll make the title a little bit more vitriolic. Is that a word? And all of a sudden the views go up because I invoked anger. I don't like
it. It also has a tendency to make reviews in particular more entertaining, and that's been understood since the early days of the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah,
we all know that. Like,
these YouTubers
let's
pump out this repetitive, specifically worded content every day, always focused on anything they can call woke. The effect it has on unsuspecting regular viewers is indoctrination.
Seems like nobody really cares about She-Hulk.
Going through that again. Woke is a search term, so it's good to put in. God bless Richard Meyer. When he first came onto the scene, he was diversity in comics. Just so happened to be there was an article that came out called Diversity in Comics, and people were looking for that. And when they looked for the article, they also found him, and he exploded. Freaking brilliant. Yeah, you use the search terms.
They oversimplify the topic. They use emotionally charged and loaded language that elicits animosity.
So do you, dude. These fans are actually political predators. You on your thumbnail for this very, very freaking video, you have these guys are groomers. And now you're going off on them for doing the same shit you're doing, you piece of junk.
Also,
oh yeah, he's doing the
spotted
exact same thing he's complaining about.
He's doing exactly, yeah.
I spotted the little use of the word indoctrination there. That implies that you think that any position that is not your own, A, must come from some top-down source and can never be a grassroots uprising against you, and B, that any position that isn't your own must be some kind of counter-indoctrination, because you guys view ideas as a means to an end to indoctrinate people to different frameworks. You never view ideas as a thing in themselves or a thing that someone can organically, individually come to on their own terms and seek out accordingly.
Okay, just for those who jumped in, let me tell you what we're doing here. I found this video. Occasionally, this guy, Actual Fandom, pops into my links. I did a video on him a long time ago when he attacked Richard Meyer, Diversity in Comics, your boy Zach. And so, yeah, I occasionally get a video from him. And I saw this one, and it said, you know, these guys are groomers, you know. So, okay, why is anybody calling Gary a groomer? Let me check it out. And I watched it a little bit of it, and I said, no, I'm going to do a reaction to this because I have called out Gary and the Black Pills once again. Great freaking band name. So I thought, okay, this might be interesting because it's not just me going, this guy's a dumbass. Where do I agree? Where do I disagree? I think that would be kind of fun. because it's more than just two-dimensional or one-dimensional, whatever you want to say.
Basically, an old school YouTube response video is what we're doing.
Yeah, and I wanted to do it though because yes, I think there would be times like with the shirt and the MCU and all that I'm gonna call out Gary and the Black Pills, and then there's other times. Most of the time, actually, I'm calling out this douchebag for being a douchebag. Let's see what we got here. Those are probably the same writers who think Link is what? Did you pick? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Projecting typical of progressive politics as Dark Admiral. Hey, what's up, man? Well, no crap sides do this. Yeah, all of them. We have to. When you're doing a video, when you're doing a YouTube channel, you have to get people's attention. And sometimes a thumbnail or a title that's a little bit wild will do.
Yeah, the reason this guy is one-way blind is because he considers his position inherently valid and anyone else is inherently wrong.
Drawn regular people into their politics for several years now. This content is not age restricted.
They're using.
Neither is yours, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I got to point this out. Let's be honest too. There's more than just a little bit of envy here. I mean, if you look, this guy has maybe 10% of the subscribers of the channels he's currently railing about.
Okay.
So there's definitely some envy.
You think I'm not envious of his views? Are you kidding me? I've got 17,000 subs. I've been at 17,000 subs for 2 years now because I can't break out of it. I could not get past 18,800 subs. Just could not. I got shadow banned, and now I'm actually happy. I used to say it has to be 10% of your sub count is a successful video. Now I go 1% because I've been shadow banned. I would in love to get 4.6 views.
Yeah, I don't think envy is applicable here just because it's a lazy ad hominem either way, and it's something that everyone does when they're on a public platform.
I'll tell you straight up. Yeah, I used to get this. Captain Cummings used to attack me on this one. You're just doing it for clicks and views. And I said, no shit. Now, if you're questioning my sincerity, you're full of crap. But if you're thinking anybody on YouTube is doing anything where they only want their mom and dad to watch, bullshit. They're doing it for clicks and views.
The insinuation is that they're manipulative opportunists, or that they're disingenuous, or that they're insincere, which it isn't always the case.
And by the way, yes, Undead Quinn, I think he's calling for censorship. Let's move on.
Seeing this character in his reveal, his in-costume reveal, in a show no one cares about, to get people excited about a show that no one cares about.
Oh, one thing also you might notice, I don't like to lie a lot. I mean, I might do it in the ways of as a joke or
sarcasm, etc.
Yeah, sarcasm. I might lie as something. I'm omitting something because it includes my family and it's none of your business. I might even just say none of your business. That's not a lie. But I really don't like to lie, so I try not to use words like no one, everyone, everything, nothing. Because those are all encompassing. A lot of times though, when people are saying no one cares, they mean very few people care.
The more you dive into this, the more you realize what YouTube has done by allowing the algorithm to push these channels. They've created a pipeline where people who maybe just want to watch their favorite nerd content or just a simple movie review can easily be led to some.
Stop it. Okay. Your insinuation there is that the anti-establishment, anti-FJWs are the position of power, and that you guys are the poor put upon rebels trying to rebel against them. I would point out to you that Susan Wojcicki and her successor are on your side. So are all the heads of the major corporations, with the exception of possibly Elon. So I'm gonna put this to you. As the old saying goes, if you want to know who rules over you, figure out who you can't criticize. I'm going to amend that slightly and add to it and say, if you want to know what the approved narrative is, figure out who is actually getting stifled and censored, because it sure as shit isn't you guys. You just get pissy because the grassroots, the actual working class, the people you would very much like to speak on the behalf of, don't agree with your framework, and it drives you up the wall because you think you have the only morality that works in existence.
All right.
Pretty atrocious stuff.
Was it liberating or was it super liberating for you to say the N-word?
These channels give already bigoted people the rhetoric to hide their true thoughts behind fandom.
You're presupposing that those quote-unquote already bigoted people exist in large enough numbers to matter.
Let okay have this one because he knows why I stopped.
What? Oh, the insinuation of the bad word. I mean, I'm just sitting here laughing at this guy. You know, just in terms of just the complete manipulation and either, you know, just completely ignore. This video could be completely turned against him. He's doing exactly the same thing that he's complaining about.
You say it now. The nigger word? Yeah. Oh God.
Those who otherwise might not be hateful, it molds their views to the point that they actually think.
Did Jeremy?
That was an edit. Yeah, that was a massive. That was a very transparent edit.
Words together. Yeah, that did not sound like Gary. Gary said that.
Jeremy, but yeah.
Jeremy. Sorry.
When the Little Mermaid trailer released, and there was news about backlash to her being cast with a black actress. That's driven by these guys.
Okay, again, you're assuming people can't be individuals who come to individual positions of their own accord. You're assuming that everything is top down, and that if people believe a thing, it's only because someone in a higher position of authority told them to believe it. Screw you. People have individual agency, and they can think for them freaking selves. And that is part of what pisses you off so much, because you think you should be the only valid person or the only valid position in the philosophical room. It just ain't so, is it?
Anytime a Marvel movie comes out, these people will say MCU, as if to say that somehow women are taking over and therefore ruining it.
We already went over that. Yes, it's not helpful. Moving on.
I'm agreeing with you guys. Know about that.
It's not wrong, but I said it's not wrong. It just
well, it's the wrong thing to say. I'm sorry. If you were not here, it's MCU, make Marvel male again, does not say you want good female movies. It says you just want male movies. Whether or not the videos themselves say differently, what is being presented, what is being shown is that, women, this is the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Stay out.
That being said, this guy evoking that is what we call in philosophy a syllogism, which is when you take something that is true and combine it with something that is false or arguably false to reach a faulty conclusion or prop up a faulty framework. And that's the problem with this video, is he's taking these possibly true arguments and combining them with things that are unarguably untrue and unlogical and acting like they're equally valid.
And Undead Quinn is asking this guy to pick a straw man and stick with it. And Zegold is saying leftists can't comprehend individualism, and I certainly agree with that. Let's move forward.
Speaking as a social democrat, I disagree,
to the
but whatever.
Kenobi show and the recent Lord of the Rings shows. Data studies connected that backlash to these YouTube channels.
Okay, stop again.
I was already going to stop because it's it's a missing of the point.
Okay.
Go on ahead.
And again,
remember the period.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings fan in me is screaming. The reason why it doesn't make any sense for quote-unquote people of color to be in that particular part of Middle-earth is because people of color already exist in Tolkien's Legendarium. They're called the Easterlings. You could have very easily, and people would have loved seeing the story of the Easterlings fighting against Morgoth with the help of the two blue wizards. You didn't do that. Instead, you took the western part of Middle-earth that does not contain people of color, and you erroneously put them there for no reason other than moralistic ideological woo.
All right.
Oh, I'm just gonna quickly say this. This shot here is just emblematic of a classic saying: "There are lies, damn lies, and statistics."
And if you go into those statistics at all and try to debunk them, they'll call you pseudo-intellectual or something.
By the way, also the big argument when it came to the Little Mermaid why don't you hire a black actress to play a character in a black or African fable. Why not do those stories? You know, why go after a character that's already been established is one way. And once again, it comes down to laziness and, in all honesty, racism. If you're not willing to do new characters who are not white, you are the racist.
Yeah, as I said, the Easterlings are sitting right there, and so were the two blue
other
wizards. You could have
people
done
for caring for the characters that they've grown up with. All the while, you are ignoring fables from different countries and different cultures. Let's move on.
And we're not saying that anyone who doesn't like these things is a far-right lunatic, but much of the narratives, often established about a show or a movie long before it even comes out, clearly gets pushed with coordination and intention by these channels.
Okay, but you are insinuating that those quote-unquote right-wing lunatics are a large enough portion of the population to be a relevant factor in the situation, which is inherently dehumanizing, because most people long since realized that most Nazis became irrelevant after World War II. Most Klansmen became irrelevant after the Civil Rights Movement, and so on and so forth. By insinuating that there's still a large enough percentage of crazy right-wing lunatics to be a factor, you are basically saying that some percentage of the people you don't like are subhuman and worthy of being demonized in a way that is nonsensical.
All right.
We don't believe that everyone who likes this content is like a slobbering neo-Nazi, and that's the really sinister part of it.
Gamers, I have black friends right now.
Can I call? Okay, I'm going to call this because I see this all the time. Wait, I'm not a racist. I've got black friends. That's what a racist would say. No, that's actually what a non-racist would say. Racist would say, yeah, you're damn right, because I don't like people who are not like me.
No, okay.
That's the whole point of being freaking racist. I got black friends means you're racist.
Yeah.
The problem is they're looking at two different situations. There is a possibility where a disingenuous racist person might use that to cover their ass. There's also a possibility that someone could be erroneously accused of being racist and point to the data point of how many black friends they have as a counter argument. But you will never see that counter argument as valid because you've already invalidated that person in your own epistemology.
Yeah, well, it's the modern day equivalent of, hey, E, have you stopped beating your wife?
Oh, fuck no. Why would you ask?
Okay, that's going to get quote mine to hell.
You're trying to make a point.
Quote mine for Hitler and Germany.
All right, let's move.
The content grabs hold of people and weaponizes their biases, and in many cases, they don't even realize that they're parroting extremist rhetoric.
Because according to the people who are perpetuating it, it's not extreme, you idiot. It's your understanding that's of issue here. You're doing this thing where you interpret data and then act like the interpretation never took place. You're acting like that's the first position.
Representation of anything except white men is framed as an attack on white men, which primes unaware people for toxicity online at best, and at worst, violent.
Of course, we're going to get to January 6th here. And
so do the guy.
He uses another dishonest.
Say something for a while.
He used another dishonest tactic of the classic, dangerous rhetoric, where he's defining dangerous rhetoric as anything that goes against his preferred narrative.
Then he's swallowed every freaking pill that has been put in front of him. The last time, and I'm sorry I did that, Dalton. It's just last time I stopped it because I had something to say and you didn't even let me.
Sorry.
So you have to, please, okay. All right, and I know this guy is infuriating, man. He wants you to. He's causing a little bit of.
Just every fiber of my being and every bit of my philosophical background is screaming, "Kill the evil! Kill the bad logic! Kill the bad logic!"
Yeah. There was racism had a prominent role in January 6th. What the f are you talking about? I just saw what he's actually saying. I'm sorry, but because usually it's called a insurrection, not a riot. No, it didn't. What caused a role in January 6th? And by the way, the feds that started the riot are horrible and they should be fired. But what started that was that there was video after video, evidence after evidence that something was wrong in the state of Denmark, and people wanted their voice heard. Their voice wasn't being heard. So they were to go. And the ones that went in, we've seen it now. We've seen the video. We know who the feds are. We know who the real people are.
Hey, you're falling into his trap. You actually just mentioned it earlier. I mean, if you're watching this video, he wants one of two reactions. He wants for the people on his side to go, yeah, you're 100% right. We need to stop these people and, go form the lynch mobs and, do the whole cancel culture thing and, try to get, geeks and gamers banned. Or
also, let's click and drag that logic for a second.
I'm gonna move on.
Sorry. Action offline.
Let's get off this.
The man who attacked Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, was deeply into anti-fandom circles.
Drop the hammer.
Okay, stop again.
What is going on right now?
This is gonna take hours.
Okay, if Geeks and Gamers or Gary and the Black Pills are accountable to what happened to Paul Pelosi, is ContraPoint or Lindsay Ellis accountable for the Chaz? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Yes. Is all the crap going on in Portland accountable to Vosh or Hassan Piker? No, you wouldn't say that, because in your mind, those people are valid and the other people are invalid. Your bias is incomprehensible.
You have no control. You have no control about who is watching, who is listening. It's ridiculous. And this guy's going, oh, but Geeks and Gamers, they caused January 6th.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this goes all the way back to the type of stuff of, blaming the Gabby Gifford shooter, in Arizona on, Sarah Palin and the Republicans, put out a campaign ad that had, targets on the people. Oh, it's all the same garbage. But I was thinking,
or the old school version. The guy who did Columbine liked D&D, therefore D&D is of the devil.
Oh, we used to get that a lot in the 1980s. LK, you remember that? Well, you're more of a 90s teen, but we used to get that so much.
I was an 80s teen. No, but just quickly, I mean, here's the thing. Don't get angry at this guy. What you need to do is
I get loud all the time. Don't contribute something that I do all the time to just this guy. I get loud for everything.
What you have to do is mock and laugh at this guy, because
that's
what'll tick him off the most, because he wants you to get angry.
I'm just addressing the bad logic. I don't even care about the guy personally. I'm just like, the fact that these ideas are being expressed in this order is triggering my logical PTSD.
Am I saying that they inspired his violence? No. But when the rhetoric online
yes, you are. What was the point of the insinuation then?
Comicsgates and various other satellite groups. When he shares their content.
The Comicsgate movement isn't defending free speech. Okay, when was this made, by the way? I want to know if it's our Comicsgate. September 13, 2018. Dude, now you're stepping into my territory. Okay, the Comicsgate movement isn't defending free speech. It's suppressing it.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Hold on, dude.
Sorry. We have to stop on this real quick, because, okay, look at that Washington Post article. I have to point this out. If you can read the small print there, this
attacks
is
from the toxic side of Marvel and Star Wars fandom are featured, not a bug.
No.
Serve a dark side.
No. This is an article by Noah Bertlasky.
Yeah.
If you know who he is, then you understand how just insane this article is, and he is
the
wrong person to put on here.
Yeah, and I agree with Elijah. It's about meritocracy. It's not about anything other than that, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've been through this the first time around. I'm gonna step in here because I started saying something, and once again, we absolutely were about free speech, because a lot of times we're trying to get our voice out. And look, my channel is shadow banned. Now, I don't know if it's because they didn't tell me who shadow banned. I assume it's war campaign, but I do know I also got a video banned because I did and as a matter of fact, I've got a community strike because I did a video about a Time magazine article that admitted to what would we call messing with the election.
Fortification, I believe, is the word you're looking for.
There you go. I just commented on a Time magazine article that talked about how Congress, the unions, and big business, big oil got together to mess around with the election to make sure.
And they admitted it because they wanted praise, because they thought they were in the right for doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's move on. So, by the way, yeah, our side definitely is the side for free speech if we're going to break it down to sides like that.
To justify openly hateful ideas about media, there's no denying it plays a role.
Motherfucker, you better look outside. You better look out the January.
Hold on a second. He put Ethan's quote right here. Okay, this is violating our rules against abuse and harassment. This is bullshit right here. You guys know I'm no friend of Ethan Van Sciver's. I don't hate the man. God bless him. I hope he's continually successful, but I don't think he and I are going to be sharing ribs over a barbecue anytime. He says, let Kathleen Kennedy die. Kill it if you have to. A direct freaking quote.
Yeah, it's not a call for violence. It's a meme drawn
quote
from the stupidity of Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's using basically her words against her.
There's no denying it plays a role.
Motherfucker, you better look outside. You better look out January 6th. Kick that fucking door open.
Right-wing media has pushed the narrative that anyone who acknowledges gay or trans people existing and simply think they should be treated equally is a groomer.
No, people who are talking to kids about sex and their sexuality, not just by saying, well, no, I've got a wife, you know. By the way, we also got nailed. I'm in Florida, and what's her name? Karen whatever. The press secretary came out and said that gay people aren't allowed to have pictures of their spouses on their desk. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
all,
it is.
All they're asking to do is don't talk about sex to 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. Also, if somebody or a teenager is feeling bad about themselves, don't go, well, you need to cut your titties off.
Also, it's not being done to like 13 to 15-year-olds in a sex ed class like every other kind of sexuality. It's being inculcated into every subgenre of the education system.
Let's see. It's actual fandom. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I saw this video and they were calling Gary and all them groomers, so we're going through it. All right.
Real conversion therapy that happens in our world today is the kind where a child is converted into LGBT.
And that notion in a short amount of time rose up online to be everywhere.
They're just evil.
Is it me or has he kind of dropped the whole Gary thing?
Please, he's probably going to get back to it, but please also note the difference between the LGBT movement or the LGBT framework and gay people or lesbian people or whomever. There's a reason why gays against groomers is a thing. It's not that we have any problem with kids being gay or whatever, and I'm speaking as someone who happens to be gay, by the way. It's that just like straight sexuality shouldn't be forced onto kids, neither should any other kind of sexuality. The only place sexuality should be discussed is in biology class or in sex ed class when they're like 13 to 15, just like every other thing.
Let's continue.
Notion is extremely common in fan spaces on YouTube. You probably know who Alex Winter is, or at least his character Bill S. Preston Esquire.
I'm Bill.
He's got a documentary coming out in June called The YouTube Effect about just this phenomenon. The trailer calls this current era the misinformation apocalypse and promises to...
Oh, you know what? I agree with him.
Does any information that you don't like constitute any validity? Does any information that comes from somewhere that isn't a ivory tower from academia constitute any sort of reality, especially when it's video footage or anything like that? Can you admit that sometimes you don't have the full story, the entirety of reality is not encompassed in your framework? Or is magically everything that you don't like automatically misinformation, especially when it comes from the non-official sources?
Let's see if they move back.
Raise your kids. They need to determine what you put into your body. Fuck these left-wing people.
Yeah, okay.
Have to.
Again, speaking as a leftist, it's not a left-wing versus right-wing issue.
We've taken the initiative to try to get people to see the truth in front of our faces.
Bunch of left-wing nut jobs that have to infiltrate every aspect of your life and your business. They need to know what kind of food you eat. They need to determine.
Okay, I want to step in. I want to say something about this because I've heard this across the board. What would happen is an extreme opinion is pushed or a change of the rules is pushed, and we say, no, don't do that. It's a bad idea. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. And they'll call us a racist or homophobe or something like that, going, well, if you don't like us changing this rule, you're an ist, you're a phobe, blah, 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 yada, yada. But we're like, don't change the rule. You're not going to like what it does. And then they go ahead and they do it. Like, say, right now, you've got Donald Trump, former president, being brought up on charges. Don't do that, because as soon as you do that, it's never been done before. As soon as you do that, the door is going to open now. And every time a president steps out of line, they're going to have charges against them. So when Biden's out of office and you get somebody else in there, preferably a conservative,
assuming he lived long enough to get out of office.
If Biden gets out, when Biden gets out of office, you'll have a conservative, and he will say, let's go after the son of a bitch. And then someone's going to come up and they're going to say, but I thought you said it was a bad idea. Well, you changed the fucking rules.
Yeah, the only way for the rules to be sane is if the rules that we make apply to everyone.
Okay, let's move
what
on.
type of movies you like. They need to determine who you vote for. They need to determine how you raise your kids. They need to determine what you put into your body. Fuck these left-wing people.
These channels aren't actually fan channels upset about politics in their movies.
How much does the Blaze pay you?
Blaze doesn't pay me that much. I'm only a video contributor. I only show up every once or twice at the most a week.
I mean, you got your picture. You got your picture on the wall. You must do something for him.
Yeah, because I'm a video contributor. Why wouldn't my picture be on the wall?
They're political channels using movies and fandom to propagate misinformation.
Does that also apply to Lindsay Ellis or Renegade Cut or any of the other people on the BreadTube side that do this? Because Vosh does video reviews sometimes. Hassan Piker does video reviews sometimes. The Young Turks made an absolutely hilarious Joker video back in the day that is still one of the most awful things I've ever seen. Or does it only count because your side is the valid side and their side is by default not the valid side? Funny how that frickin' works.
He does work at the Blaze and such. He does do some videos for the Blaze. He goes on their live stream for them. Does he want that in his comic books? I mean, that's one thing. Somebody might work for a Pepsi company. Does that mean he wants every freaking comic book hero ever drawn with a freaking Pepsi in their hand? Just because he's working for one doesn't mean he wants that in the entertainment. What we do want is just freaking entertainment. Now, look, you're not going to get politics out of media, but holy crap, don't call people bad just because they disagree with you. Let me continue here.
Don't let their outward persona of being passionate fans who are simply upset with the current treatment of beloved franchises fool you. These people are not fans, and it's time to expose them for what they are.
Oh, we gotta
dangerous.
Because you're the arbiter of what a real fan is, apparently.
Well, and there it lies. The point of this video is he wants to frame it as you can't trust these folks. Don't believe them because they're not real fans. They're pushing their political agenda.
We're not the ones.
Actual fandom is a real fan.
Yeah, we're not the ones who explicitly believe in all the gobbledygook that says politics is the only use for art or media.
He says it's gatekeeping, but he calls himself actual fandom, and he calls everybody who disagrees with him anti-fans.
Well, this useful idiot wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes in a comic book shop in the 80s or 90s.
No. Oh, by the way, I will say this. Hawkeye is another bait and switch failure. No,
No, it isn't.
No, never once was it a bait and switch. They announced for months before.
All right, let's move on.
I'm not going to fucking move on. Thank you very much. They announced months before. that they were bringing in Kate Bishop. It wasn't a bait and switch. That's a bullshit. It's bullshit.
They fixed her, but also Geo Gold. Again, I want to point out, I am a leftist. I don't agree with that SJW bullshit. It's the ideology that's the problem, not the political wing.
My brother's farther left than Dalton. He doesn't like the SJW crap either.
Do this alone. However, we know that taking a stance against anti-fandoms is not an easy thing to do. Each and every one of us has faced our fair share of kickback. Our videos often get bombarded with dislikes, get hate comments, and we see the same disgusting rhetoric that the anti-fandom channels use get recycled over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh. If I go to your channel, am I going to see this kind of thing over and over and over again? Do I not get videos or comments on my videos that say horrible and hateful things?
How many hit pieces on anti-fandom are you gonna make, dude?
This is something that happens. If you put your opinion out there, someone's going to disagree with you. Someone's going to get angry. And when it comes to something like somebody as big as Gary the Black Pills, or even this guy's got 6,000 subscribers. He's in one day he's making 4.6 thousand views. If somebody goes after him and someone else catches wind, a lot of people are going to come down and say you're full of shit, and they're going to start yelling.
I'm just going to paraphrase The Simpsons. This guy is the Mexican non-union John Oliver.
Sorry, again, Geo Gold. I am a social democrat. I'm a 2016 Bernie bro. While I'm classical liberal in principle, I am definitely farther to the left of that in policy. Don't invalidate my label just because you want to use leftist as a one-size-fits-all disparagement, please. Because it's doing the same thing that you're complaining about them for doing. After all, it's collectivizing people.
All righty, let's move on here.
And
kill yourself.
Valid. And while comments like these don't affect me personally because perhaps I am a masochist, I understand that content creators don't want to be subject to this kind of harassment and hate. However, I ask you this. Do you truly care about the fandoms that you're a part of? Do you truly care about movies, TV shows, video games, and other media? And do you care about honest and respectful media criticism and maintaining open spaces where fans can share their passions with each other without having to deal with man babies who cry?
Well, yeah, I mean, you said it over, but there is the problem. I can't count you as a true fan any more than you can count me as a true fan if you don't treat the characters like the characters. If you don't make Spider-Man about responsibility, if you make a Captain America who hates America, who hates the Constitution, I'm sorry, but
something went wrong in Denmark there.
You as being a true fan, if you don't think that Captain America's patriotism should be defended. If you think that anyone could be Batman, anyone could be Captain America, then no, I'm sorry. I can't count you as a true fan. Anytime people, and this is the big argument I would always get anytime we argue the whole Batman thing. Like, this Jay Fox is not Batman. He's not.
Well,
you didn't mind because Dick Grayson took over. Anytime anybody took over anything in the past, be it John Walker, be it Dick Grayson, be whoever, it was to show that nobody could be Captain America. Nobody could be Batman. Nobody could be Superman except the people who are, because it's more than just the suit. What were you saying, LK?
Well, just again, it's what I want to defend is, kind of every fandom in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of being honest, and having respect for the character. For example, like the latest, kerfuffle, is with the upcoming Lilo and Stitch, live action movie. There's a character, I guess, who's important, like a social worker or something, and he was, a male in the cartoon, and he's being replaced by, a larger size woman.
Wait,
and
they gender flipped Cobra Bubbles?
Yes. And there's people upset. Now, for me, I never watched Lilo and Stitch. I have no dog in the fight, but I respect the people that are upset about it because it's a complete change of the character that, they grew up with.
Yeah, I thought Bubbles was going to be played by Courtney B. Vance.
No, if you unless it was misguided, but I know it was, you know, on Twitter this past week or last week that, you know, the social worker, the Bubbles or whatever it is, you know, being played by, you know, some woman that's, you know, looks like she's about, you know, 250, 300 pounds.
Oh, okay.
I.e., they basically turned Cobra Bubbles into Amanda Waller.
There you go.
Yeah, more or less.
Let's move on.
I woke at everything. If the answer is yes, then I ask you to not stand idly by and watch as fandoms are ripped apart, and watch buzzwords like woke be misused to build resentment towards minorities and progressive social.
It's not. And the thing is that woke does cause, because woke sees minorities, be whatever they are, anybody who is not a white straight male, woke sees as inferior. And that's why we call it out. Get on board. You are on, I'm going to use your language. You are on the wrong side of history here. Woke sees everybody who is not white, male, and straight is weak.
No. Well, and once again, too, this argument, no, the ones that are tearing the fandom apart are people like him. Because again, back in the old days in the comic book shops, we had these kinds of arguments all the time.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move forward.
Nothing has changed,
all while being disguised as valid media criticism. The people who listen to anti-fandom channels are getting trained to believe that woke is bad, and woke is anything non-white,
No, woke is bad, because woke means anything non-white is weak.
No,
heterosexual, non-cisgender, and non-traditional gender roles.
Hey, yeah, all right, let's make fun of these.
Okay, again, you don't speak on the behalf of the demographics that you claim to speak on the behalf of, because identities are not teams, especially demographic identities. Professional identities, the identities that revolve around skills, maybe to some degree you could make that argument, but demographics are the least important part of anyone's identity. And that is the quintessential reason why people like me and people you claim to have internalized oppression disagree with you, because we don't like being tied to this Neoplatonic hive mind that you insist on putting us in. Not that we asked for, not that we defined, but that you and the hoary halls of academia created from thin frickin' air.
Alrighty, let's continue.
These weirdos with just a show for a bunch of lesbians. That's the only appeal that it has. That obviously just put it in a position because of her status. She's one of those typical pronoun.
A lot of jump cuts in this particular one.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest problems with this video, of course, being the fact that it's just a clip here, a clip there. It's this is the same interview, and he jump cut twice.
Now, brigade weirdos, put some mental illnesses and all that shit in their bio and all that. She doubled down on this idea that Vixen was gay. They seem to write these gay characters as predators all the time.
This is a problem that will keep rising if we don't join the fight. This pipeline for insanity all begins with seemingly simple media critics like The Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell, Waller, Ethan Van Sciver, Eric July, and many, many more. And I hate to say it, but the honest critic has lost it.
You know, the fandom hates people who are not white, like Eric July, and they hate people who are not male, like Star Wars Girl.
Yeah. Well,
look,
people who were gay, like me, and like a bunch of other.
Well, look, we're not part of
creators.
this. We're not part of the fandom. I consider Gary a friend. I saw this on my feed where this guy's calling Gary a groomer. I disagree with the fandom menace a lot, but I wanted to put this on once again. I wanted to argue the points I disagree with, come to the points I agree with. I thought it would be a bit more three-dimensional of a reaction video. The guy's a nut bar. This dude is a nut bar, and I'm thinking he may be an incredibly close-minded nut bar at that.
Yeah.
Let's see what. Oh, go ahead.
He's the typical useful idiot, and I love the idea of you got to join the fight. You mean join the side of every major pop culture website and magazine, every significant influencer, every media organization, of course, all the corporations that own the IPs, Okay, yeah, sure.
Again, if you're looking for the side that's anti-establishment, sir, you might want to point your meter in the direction of the people who are actually opposed to the establishment, not the people who get invited to the UN on the red frickin' carpet. Something tells me the establishment doesn't have a problem with people that it rolls out the red carpet for. It has a problem with the people it demonizes.
Yep, we're the modern day punk rockers.
Ash is saying the one glaring thing this video misses is that all these black people, black pill. Let me try that again. The one glaring thing this video misses is that all these black pill creators have the bigger audience for a reason, and it's not because they converted anyone.
Yeah, it's just like Joe Biden talking about unity and unify and this and that and the other, and it's like, you might want to be careful with that rhetoric, sir, because you might find a situation where everyone unifies against you, and it's the same thing here. You might find that if you insist on getting people into the fight, quote unquote, yours isn't the side that they're going to prefer because people don't like moral authoritarians or censorious twits.
Remember when they LK? You remember when they accused the right as being the moral authoritarians?
Oh yeah, no, back in the day, yeah, all the satanic, rock panic and
satanic panic, and they were, because at that point it was the right that had the moral whip hand, and now it just happens to be the other side that has the moral whip hand.
It was all conservative. That's why the PMRC was headed by Tipper Gore.
Yeah.
Let me move forward.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, this is the guy that we laugh at and say, oh, he just, is the consume content. Don't ask any questions, just consume the content.
This round, even if these popular channels get shut down, they'll be laughing all the way to the bank. They've made their money, and that is likely all they care about because evidence supports that these anti-fandom critics are simply grifters exploiting the algorithm to make money.
Where did they get that money from?
They've made their money, and that is likely all they care about because evidence supports that these anti-fandom critics are simply grifters exploiting the algorithm to make money.
Hey,
oh my God. Where did they get that money?
Congratulations.
Yeah, where did they get that money from, though, Guy? Where did their money come from?
I'm gonna tell you something. I can show you. I have not made that much freaking money in 4 goddamn. This is old shit, by the way, because I have not made that much money in a year or a month or anything in a long time.
Well, it takes them this long to catch up because they genuinely don't understand any of our positions. So they spend 4 years figuring out how to ideologically make sense of our positions and usually strawman it to hell and back in the process.
I will bet you money at this point that Jump 3PO is kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in any case, back to the point, where are they getting that money from, Guy? Because you can't be blind enough to think they're getting it from corporations or from interest groups or anything. Unlike a lot of your guys' stuff, which is funded by larger entities, by interest groups and so on. Like Hassan gets his money from the Young Turks, who in turn get their money from Al Jazeera. But we're not allowed to talk about that. And meanwhile, Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic made money because they spoke to people in a language that they found compelling, and people willingly handed that money over. And again, which side is anti-establishment? The side that has to crowdfund everything, or the side that gets $10,000 checks from corporations and entities?
Glenzer, I had that is dollars. I had one glorious year where I thought, all right, this is going to. I used to say in the end of my videos, this is the way I'm trying to make a living. And I had one $17,000, not a lot of money when you consider a year. It's it would be a I guess a Joe job, but that's all I've ever worked were Joe jobs. Occasionally I would get something that made a little bit more. Occasionally I would get something that actually made a little bit less, because just because of the nature of what I
but
did.
You were thinking you could replace a regular job with this because it was
I didn't
comparable.
have to go out. I didn't have to go out. This is what I did. I was looking at my analytics, and there was a year where I put out 60 videos a month. So I was really freaking going. When my channel got And the thing is that it always went in waves. Like I would be doing well, and then it seemed like the algorithm changed a little bit, and I nosedived, and I was always able to climb back up. And then I talked to YouTube. They said that I got flagged. Now I don't know if it's the flagging or if it was I got caught up in the adpocalypse. What was that guy? The BuzzFeed
Carlos
guy?
Maza.
Yeah, when he went after Crowder, a whole bunch of conservative channels got hit. I'm a comic books channel, but I've never hidden my political affiliation. I think it's dishonest if I'm talking about this kind of stuff, since I had always been talking about the social justice warriors and so forth in comics. I felt it was dishonest if I hid the fact that I was conservative. So I never felt that I still don't. I still actually look at Steven Crowder and kind of think he's being a pussy. You know, right now he's got this thing where he censors his videos on YouTube, and I really think it's just to drive you over to Rumble. But I'm sorry, it's the same thing with Tim Pool. You know, don't if you're talking about a bad crime, don't call it grape. You're being insulting to the victims of rape. And I can't do that. I have to. Like I said, I'm not a good liar. I just really am not, unless of course it's in service of a joke and so forth and so on. Like I said before, but
when he's doing a bit, basically.
Yeah. I got hit, but this is a long time ago, kids.
Yeah, because they're just now catching on.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a dick, but I just don't care. I mean, there's 400 people watching this stream. If one of them knows my name now that didn't know it before, it's a success for me. At the end of the day, I have tried to build Geeks and Gamers by doing it the structured way, the methodical way, the think it out, prep it, take notes, think about everything you're going to say, and it fucking failed miserably on me. The day that I started doing what I'm doing right now, which is what you're, having a problem with, is the day that I started becoming successful.
That's him basically nuking your position, because it's him insinuating that he tried to do it the establishment approved way and it didn't work. It only started to work when he went grassroots and went to the actual people. Way to undo your own shit from within your shit, sir.
And more importantly, too, the argument's complete nonsense. Nothing in there says that he's dishonest. It just means that he decided to go, riff and go off the cuff and not, have scripted videos.
Because people don't like people on their elitist, usually moralistic high horse. They like people who are irreverent, who are populist, who are libertarian, or who at the very least seem like an actual freaking person, not a performance being put on as much as possible.
Right. Okay, let's move
Why
on.
do you feel the need to call it out all the time?
Call what out?
Representation in media.
What do you mean call it out? Like what is
what is the problem with Miles Morales?
Tokenization. That's it. That's simple. I have a long form video explaining exactly what I mean when I say tokenization. And we're talking about race, sexuality, and gender swaps pertaining to these characters.
I call out representation when it's not accurate. Does that make me a bad person? Apparently so.
Well, what they did there was they asked him, what do you mean by tokenization? He gave his definition. So when he's talking about it, this is how he means. And then he said, that's not the definition of tokenization. But that's two different things. That's moving the goalposts. If you want, if you're asking what's the dictionary definition, I'll look it up for you. What is it when I say it? Okay. I shout out whenever something bad happens, I shout out a bit of a saying. It's become a catchphrase now. I am not actually telling anybody to go out and have sex with animals.
Sodomize a pack mule?
Yeah, I'm not actually saying that. When I say it, what it means is, it just means, well, that went wrong. It doesn't matter what it means in the dictionary. It's like this. They ask him for his definition, and then they No, that's not the definition.
The dictionary isn't supposed to be prescriptive anyway. It's supposed to be descriptive of how words are generally used. If the dictionary is outdated, the whole point of a philosophical conversation is supposed to be step one: define your frickin' terms.
So let's really quick, and I'm going to use this as this is my channel, so I'm going to take a little time to do this. I don't know who this mustache guy is, but let me answer a question here. The problem with Miles Morales is that he has no identity. He was given Spider-Man's identity instead of his own. Once again, a leftist decided it would be good not to give a black character his own identity, but to give him the identity of a white man, a more established white man. He is wearing Spider-Man's clothes. Sure, it's an alternate of the Spider-Man outfit, but, and by the way, you're asking about Miles Morales and you're showing 2099. But it is he has never had his own superhero identity. He is only Miles Morales.
And
now, sometimes you'll get Miles Morales Spider-Man, but you will never just get Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is and always has been Peter Parker. What we argue is that Miles Morales needs his own identity. Don't call him Spider-Man. As a matter of fact, stop making 152 characters of 152 different versions of every character. It's getting ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And here's the other half of that. Even that could have worked if you respected in-universe logic by actually allowing Miles Morales to obtain the mantle from Peter and not have two Spider-Men going at once. But you don't care about in-universe logic. You don't care about what makes sense for characters or character motivations. You only care about art as a means to an end. And that is what people are freaking sick of. Art is not a means to an end. In-universe logic and lore and fandom knowledge matter. And acting like it doesn't is spiteful and vindictive and using art as a means to an end rather than an end in itself. And that's what people hate.
Let's move on, because we're getting to the end of this, finally.
What about
slowly but surely?
What would you define him as?
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
That sounds good.
So if you up and depicted a black Batman, you're going to get some backlash. And yeah, some characters have been written decently that are of different races and have suited up in the suit of a hero or a version of that hero. One of the more obvious is Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Now, most of these types of efforts are forced, corny, and lazy, but at least Miles Morales has his own background.
I define everybody that's...
I'm sorry, wait, did he just go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that in 4 years he had a change of heart and mind? Is that not
or
allowed?
that in his own videos he was allowed to go into more freaking detail than a 5-second soundbite?
Yeah,
Well,
maybe so.
And let's remember, in 2018, Miles Morales still wasn't in the 616.
Well, there you go.
He was in his own. He was in his own separate universe.
Okay, let's move on.
It's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
This is far better than just simply making Peter Parker a black guy. But Miles is an exception, make no mistake.
So, do you like Miles Morales then?
No.
They don't care about the effect they're
He
having.
changed his
Please
mind.
don't misunderstand me. These channels are still right-wing, even far right at that. They still believe that Trump should be president. They still hate progressive politics. They still hate seeing people from any minority.
Hey, you know, I've never been invited on to.
You don't have to be right-wing to be an anti-FAW. Hi, you know, classically liberal in principle, social democrat in practice guy here who's also gay and crippled. I hate social justice, just like I hate the TradCon family values, you know, hell and love joys of yesteryear. What I am opposed to is moralism, and especially authoritarian moralism, full stop. It doesn't matter to me what direction it comes from, and just because I'm on the left doesn't mean I have to go along with every stupid thing the left does, especially if I hold my own side to something resembling consistent standards. I'm opposed to moralism when the right does it, so by default, that means I should be opposed to moralism when the left does it, because what I actually don't like is moralism. You quit.
Minority plays a significant role in their media. These people are inherently political, despite their appearance of being apolitical fans who just want politics to stay out of their media. However,
what about the people on the same side that don't have those same politics?
Dude, I stopped it. I was gonna see if LK, you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay. But yes, once again, I'll just say it's not the politics itself; it's how the politics are being told. Let me get some of these comments over here. Go ahead.
I was just laughing at oh no, the boogeyman, Alex Jones, or I'm just waiting now for him to bring up Jordan Peterson at some point. That's the only thing missing from this laughable video.
Now, Vank is Comic Book Frog here is saying, I honestly don't mind Spider-Gwen or Miles. Just keep them in their own universes. And a lot of, like LK pointed out, and I heard a lot of people say this, I think including you, Vank, that he was better in the Ultimate Universe. I'll tell you a character that nobody seemed to like that I actually dug was Gwenpool. I loved her comics. I thought,
yeah, Gwenpool's fine.
Yeah, well, again, unfortunately, to a point, her introduction, the first volume or whatever you want to call it, it was an interesting character. But again, like everything that Marvel does recently, it got into the wrong hands and then became this awful character. And just last thing I want to point out is, it was hilarious that whoever that interviewer was of Eric July had Spider-Man 2099 on there. I was a huge Spider-Man 2099 fan. Thing is, nobody ever thought Miguel O'Hara was replacing Peter Parker. It was a completely different story in a completely different timeline, far into the future.
And he came off as his own character.
Yeah, I think I'd have to even go back, but I mean, the only thing kind of loose connection was there was some bit of inspiration because he had similar powers. But otherwise,
because it's a legacy,
yeah. But I mean, it wasn't necessarily even a legacy. It's just there was nobody ever thought that Miguel O'Hara was going to be replacing or a substitute for Peter Parker.
And I'm gonna offer a bit of a dissenting opinion on the whole Miles to stay in his own universe thing, because I don't mind that Miles is in the mainstream continuity now, especially when you consider that they've been de-aging Peter to hell and back for decades. Thank you, Joe Quesada, because they won't let Peter grow up. I would advocate, if you're insistent on Spider-Man needs to be this younger character, let Peter develop a new mantle and let him pass the mantle of Spider-Man to Miles, and then either retire or pull a Nightwing and make a new character. That would be something that would be consistent within what the fandom wants, what the company wants, and it would make sense in universe. But my issue is you don't care about the things that would make sense in universe or that would make everyone happy. You want everything to be this, if you aren't serving my politics or my morality, you're doing it wrong. With regards to art, and I don't like that.
Well, I was just going to say, Dalton, let me just ask you a quick question. Would you be in favor of Peter being a mentor to Miles? Or do you think these people would go nuts and say, well, no, Miles doesn't need a mentor, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, no, Peter should be a mentor if they're doing what I suggested and doing the passing of the torch thing.
All right, let's move on here.
However, their content is still disingenuous. They do this almost purely to make money. They don't care about the fandoms they claim to be a part of. They couldn't care less about the media they claim to love.
Said this.
They don't actually want anything to change, because if Hollywood stopped being so-called woke, then these channels would lose their source of income, popularity, and relevance. As fans,
but they would win the argument.
Exactly the same thing. I have said the same thing about Democrats when it comes to minorities. They don't want anything to improve, because as soon as they improve, then minorities might not see the Democrats as useful anymore.
And here's a perfect example. Did the 80s happen? Did the gay rights movement happen? Or is society still oppressive to gay people? Did the civil rights movement happen? Or do we need Black Lives Matter?
SJW was born.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, these people do the exact same shit. They act as though they are the poor put upon rebels, despite the fact that Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn got invited to the UN in 2013. Despite the fact that they are in all the positions of academia, all the positions of corporations, in every HR and PR department under the sun, they still can't acknowledge that they won the argument back in the 90s and therefore should be held accountable for what they do with that power.
You got to find the period again, man.
Sorry,
We're
go.
2 minutes
Go.
away from the end of this. Almost 1.5.
Just one quick thing. I just have to laugh at this useful idiot again in the insinuation and try to use Nerdrotic of all people as an example for this. When I mean, Gary is the biggest fan of these properties.
He just wants to stop doing this and open a comic book store. That he's been consistent about that the entire way through, pretty much.
All right, so we're getting personally. I don't like the multiverse stuff, says Spiffy. Also, if we're going to talk about de-aging, they're talking to each other there. Let's see. This guy always goes back to Trump and right-winger rhetoric, I've noticed, says MK. So by his logic, anyone who disagrees with the woke stuff in comics is automatically a Trump voter, therefore a Nazi. Or he's connected everything. So if you are not a leftist, not a liberal, but if you're not a leftist, then you are a right-winger who supports Trump and a Nazi.
And even if you are a leftist but hate social justice, then you're still right-wing.
Painted himself into a very small corner of the room. Maranya saying, no, stop stealing the original character concepts and grafting them onto checkbox filling cookie cutter blanks to trade on the name and recognition. Captain Falcon is not a promotion. They should have just promoted Falcon, given him his own movie before they made him Falcon Cap or whatever you want to call it. Let's move on here.
They rarely ever talk about the things that they actually enjoy, and on the off chance that they do, it's often to bring down something they hate. These people have no integrity, there's no consistency to their ideology or their content.
Wait a second, you can't say they always do something and then say there's no consistency.
You're also assuming they have an ideology, which is a complete straw man. Just because someone opposes you, that doesn't mean they're in the opposite camp. That's a false dichotomy. You can just be someone who opposes all moralism taking precedence in art, like I do. I don't care if it's Helen Lovejoy or a Karen. I don't want someone's morality to be shoved into stories.
This is he's saying he's contradicting himself in his in the same sentences at this point.
And there doesn't need to be, because it's a mind virus intent on corrupting the brains of the people who watch. Anti-fandoms are detrimental not just to the media and fandoms that we love, but also to the outside world and the rhetoric and ideologies they spread. And listen,
Gary,
what about the people?
Oh, dang it, dude!
Go ahead.
I swear, let me finish.
And then I'll go.
Finish. Let me tell. Good Lord. Okay. I was going to point out once again, dude. I'm gonna move on.
And you don't need to like The Last Jedi. You don't need to love every new MCU movie. You can still think that there are examples of disingenuous diversity from companies aiming to take advantage of political movements that.
And if they do that, then you'll call them right-wing by default anyway. You want to know how I know? Because that's exactly what we did do.
There you go, kids. when you get here, I think everything is just crumbled. I mean, not that there was a foundation anyway, but what's her name?
Anita Sarkeesian.
Sarkeesian, right? Yeah.
And and most people don't realize, I mean, she was trained to be a con artist. She is a alleged con artist.
Right. Yeah, I remember she tried to see Batman's ass because you could see the cheerleader in that zombie chainsaw game's ass or something like that.
No, it was because you could see Catwoman is
there you go.
What she was doing there.
Yeah. But no, there was a video a long time ago. God, was it Leo Pirate or somebody back in the day that had the video proof that then it mysteriously got taken down long before she ever got into the culture war. She worked for a gentleman that basically ran a pyramid scheme.
Oh, That's good. That's good. That's good. Now, since somebody's praising me, I have to read the comment. A lot of the current LGBTQ characters could actually be interesting, says Debizzle the Nerd. if they were given to better writers. I love your saying. There are no bad characters, just bad writers. And that is absolutely the truth. Neil Gaiman actually showed me that when he did Prez and he did Brother Power of the Geek. But in all honesty, I went back and God bless him, Eric sent me a couple of issues, but I went back and read the original issues of Brother Power of the Geek. You should check those out. Steve Ditko is not a lefty. he went off on the hippies there. Since
we also missed
without saying something that makes me want him to get in a fist fight with Star Platinum. Okay.
We also missed a trick when he was saying that the anti-fans, quote unquote, are the ones who destroy media and destroy IPs. Except for the fact that you guys explicitly go to art schools where they literally teach you that the only value of these art forms is as a means to an end, and you deliberately see any service to the fandom as an immorality that you have to spite. So, once again, if you don't like people who corrupt media with political messaging, I look forward to the day when you stop doing it, please.
Right. Okay, we're going to move on, and we've only got an hour and 1 minute and 9 seconds, which will translate to an hour.
Wow.
Often result in shallow progressivism and tokenization. These things are fine. We can discuss this respectfully as fans. However, that's not what these channels spew. The anti-fandom is hateful. They feed on outrage, and they're dangerous. So love us or hate us, one thing is certain. We are not backing down. There needs to be a counter voice to provide an alternative to the voices that dominate these social media platforms.
I agree with this.
So we've teamed up, Organized Chaos, Actual Fandom, and Turf Nation to provide a real voice to media commentary. And we're looking.
I now agree that you are gatekeepers. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be calling yourself actual fans. You're not going to be calling yourself the Fandom Initiative, telling other people that these guys are really horrible. We're the heroes. We're the great ones, because you are doing exactly what Gary is doing. You're doing exactly what Ethan Van Sciver is doing. You are exactly them. You're just the opposite side of that coin. You are saying these are the villains and we are the heroes. And if you agree with us, if you want to fight the good fight, you side with the heroes. Because trust me, Gary and Ethan see themselves as the heroes, and they're saying to their listeners, they are the bad guys, we are the good guys, we are the heroes. And if you want to be a part of being the hero, come be on our sides. Make sure you click like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell if you haven't done it already. There's a link to Ko-Fi if you don't mind helping out the channel. Or that's what I say. But point being is, it's all to create a you versus, or a we, us versus them. Maybe I fucked up a long time ago when I asked my viewers to be independently minded. I mean, there's money to be made in that whole cult-like status thing, man.
Not to mention they completely flipped the structure again. They actually believe that the people propped up only by the grassroots are the evil, oppressive patriarchy, and that the people who side with the corporations, with the diversity initiatives, with the current morality zeitgeist, are the outsiders. Again, if you're looking for outsiders, my dear, you might want to look at the people who are actually forced onto the outside of the institutions that have internalized social justice to such a ludicrous degree that every professor, every HR and PR department, every artistic company worth their salt is forcing it through, just like back in the day we forced through the TradCon bullshit. Again, I would prefer if we just didn't force these zeitgeists into existence and let them arise organically, if it's all the same with everyone.
Yeah.
So just one quick comment here. This guy is so laughable, so unoriginal. Even the name of his little group is taken from the people that quote unquote he opposes, because the original group that Gary and others started was the Fandom Menace.
Yes.
Now he's calling his group the Fandom Initiative. I mean, as I say, my comment of this guy being a dime store John Oliver stands. He's trying to use all the same manipulative tricks if you've ever watched John Oliver's show on HBO.
The sad thing is, I'm not even sure he realizes he's doing it. I think he's that much of a true believer that he just doesn't spot that he's so converted that he doesn't spot his own disingenuousness.
Yeah, but again, that's why I say don't get mad at this guy. Laugh at him, mock him because he deserves it, or just completely ignore him because I will. I'll never watch one of his videos. I could care less.
Oh, he's actually live streaming right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I have half a mind to jump over. He says it's an open mic, so come on and okay.
Don't start.
Because you'll never get an honest conversation with him. I mean, just from the whole tone of this video, the persuasive, manipulative tone of this video
was neither persuasive or to me. So
no, yeah, but they'll quote. If you go over there, his audience and he will quote mine you for Hitler and Germany, basically. And then they'll try to make you look like the straw man.
Well, and then they'll, and then if they really don't like you, they'll seek out the channel and try and get it taken down. Because that's what his side does.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Don't do it. It's not worth my time, says Dark Am. I don't know. I like a good debate.
You're not going to get one, though, is the thing. It's going to be just like when we invited the SJWs on that one time, and the guy pieced out by calling us all Nazis a little bit.
That guy was being the douchebag. Look, I mean, it's one thing if I do go over and I say, hey, send a link, I disagree, blah, blah, and they talk. And if I'm sincere in my opinions and I'm sincere in the way I'm talking and they're being douchebags, then they're being douchebags.
Yeah, but it's his audience you're going to have to convince, and his audience are probably people who already converted to his side is the thing.
Yeah. And you can't, and if you do it, you can't get upset. You can't raise your voice. You can't, bomb Pearl Harbor.
Well,
you can't do what you're inclined to do anyway. Is the thing.
One thing that you can do now is, well, I don't know if he's on StreamYard or not, but I know that on StreamYard now you can record. Like if Dalton had wanted to, he could have put this recording right onto his channel since the very beginning. If you want to click that button, I don't know if it'll start now or it'll start at the beginning. You might not be able to find it because you're on your phone, but you can't whistle while he talks over you. Yeah. For the few of you who might not know that story, is during the Ethan debate, Rakita Law kept interrupting me or Undead Quinn. We were debating John
Unranked Chevron.
Thank you. Not Undead. Yeah, Unranked Chevron. We were debating John Malin and Ethan Van Sciver. Now, I was brought in under the pretext that we were going to be talking about the future of Comicsgate and what we thought would be the future of Comicsgate. I always thought it should be we doing what we do, talk about Marvel and DC, try to persuade people to write to Marvel and DC and say, hey, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. Please stop doing what we don't like. And at the same time, people like Ethan Van Sciver, Richard Meyer would be creating books specifically for this audience. And I thought there would be a great team up. Instead, it turned out to be a blood sport because Undead Quinn did a video called Is Comicsgate Dead? I then hosted a live show letting people come in and ask and talk about their experiences with this new hierarchy of Comicsgate, being that Ethan Van Sciver came along and started calling himself the king of Comicsgate. And
it was basically a struggle session.
And so I invited people in to talk about it, and they were mad. And so we start the debate, and right out the gate, Ethan Van Sciver starts yelling and screaming. And
that's what you'll get if you go over to that other guy's channel.
And then anytime it was very structured when it was my turn to talk or it was Undead Quinn's turn to talk. And
Unranked
Ethan
Chevron,
would
you got it wrong again.
I said Undead Quinn again. Unranked
Yes.
Chevron would talk, and then when Ethan would talk, he would just ramble until he was done. Well, I started noticing this, so to throw him off, I started whistling, and that's what RDV is talking about there. What's the point of debating NPCs?
There's a point in debating, but what you're going to get if you go over there isn't going to be a debate. It's going to be basically a struggle session or a witch trial. It's going to be like literally from the Crucible. They're going to go, so why are you this hateful straw man that we created?
They're in subscribers only mode too. So yeah, I guess I can't, because I was going to chime in. Do you debate or do you blood sport? But no, I just noticed he's only letting subscribers. Subscriber only mode. Message that appear are from people who've subscribed to this channel for 30 minutes or longer. Yeah, I'm not going to give him the benefit. So there you go. Yeah, not about to. Oh, he just turned it on too.
I wonder if somebody alerted him to this going on.
Yeah, he just turned it on. It's funny because
well, there's your QED, Anglantine, and my opportunity to say I told you so.
I can't really I can't see right here. This is I can't really say it because there's no comments around it that are talking about, hey, this dude is talking about you on this other channel. So
somebody might have PM'd him or whatever, so who knows, but
yeah.
But it's a fascinating QED either way. So
QED.
Yeah.
I'm not good with abbreviations. What's QED?
Quaedera demonstratum. It basically means thus it is proved. It's my way. It's my way of saying this is exactly what I was just talking about.
See, that pisses me off. That really does. Here's the thing, guys. If I know we only have 15 people now, we had a few more earlier, but if any of you are disagreeing with me, please come on and tell me where you disagree. We will have a respectful debate. I welcome it. I know how LK feels. I know how Dalton feels. A lot of times we agree a lot. It is fun to have a debate with somebody who disagrees. It's and yes, it was actually it's more challenging. It's so I don't know. I was never in your show. That show debate was a hot mess. Rakita kind of played it for one side. That was an interesting time. This guy here with the video, he says that you have people sent over and they yell and they scream. I had that at the time. And I remember the chat. The chat was I think it was like 98% Ethan Van Sciver fan and 2%. No, Anglantine's speaking right. He's laying down some facts, and like 98% of it was Anglantine needs to eat hot death. Anglantine is a soy boy. Anglantine's and all sorts of stuff and so forth.
Like I say, it was basically the comic skate equivalent of a struggle session. It was Anglantine, so you have sinned, so we are going to convince you not to be a sinner anymore, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned, Rakita, because one other thing I would say about this video, it's almost a copy paste of the similar things I've seen the pro Amber Heard side lob at the law tube community that got hugely popular during the Johnny Depp trial. It's almost word for word the same exact arguments.
Oh yeah, yeah. Frog saying the only disagreement I had was with your Crowder censoring himself statement. And hey, you see it differently than I do. And that's cool. I mean, of course, you and I are good friends, so it's like I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you. It's not never gonna be that way. But yeah, okay, you guys don't see it the same way I do. That's fine. That's fine.
I don't know enough about Crowder to say one way or the other is the only thing.
He should wear a Dalton style hat because why not? You mean a hat that has its own hair that hangs down? Like he is bald without that.
No, it's I can confirm the hair is real. It's just I prefer because top hats are awesome, just like my bow tie.
I'm not gonna read it, but everybody check out Evil Black Cat. By the way, that is funny as hell. There was somebody around that time when I went on a debate with Ethan made a channel called Faglantine. Yeah, so
I thought Dalton just liked steampunk cosplay. That's all.
No, this is how I dress every day, dude. This is how I dress every day.
Oh, I agree more with Crowder. I think he makes a lot of good points. I think he's a funny guy, but I think that even before he did that Rumble thing that censors, and I don't really think he's censoring anything. He's just trying to get people to go to Rumble. I'll tell you what, if I could get Rumble on my Xbox, I would be there. I really would. I wouldn't watch him on YouTube. I would watch him on Rumble. But I agree more with Crowder than I do with Rogan. Rogan I watch depending on the guest. I don't watch him regularly, but I'll put Crowder on in the morning time or whenever I wake up, and check to see what he's talking about. A lot of times I fast forward through the first 10 or 20 minutes because it's like countdown and then it's some sort of dumb song he does. And I always go to the first video and okay, let's see what they're talking about. Because I don't know. Sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it's very inside baseball where they're talking about things that they enjoy with each other. So okay. But I'm like that with a lot of news things. It's kind of hypocritical because I really hope you guys stay on and listen to all of our banter, but I really don't listen to banter on other people's videos. So, whoops. I agree with Crowder much more, but I respect Rogan. He's just not able to get through his cognitive dissonance, as Ash. Years ago, when I first heard of this channel, I thought it was England teen. Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people say Angle teen. More than I've actually knew. Think that the name is Angle teen. Even some people who've been with this channel and talked to me live for damn near 5 years now, call me Engelteen.
When
some of these people who if I ever met them, it would be like instant friendship because we've talked so long, still calls me Engelteen, as he's pointing out in the freaking.
When I first heard of you, I assumed it was a Bed Knobs and Broomsticks reference. And knowing how much you love Disney stuff, I am yet to be dissuaded from that.
Yeah, it's actually a Styx lyric that I sang wrong. They actually, and in the Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, they actually do say Glentine in the song. So they say it right. In the Styx song, in the Grove of Oglentine, they say it wrong. But I had sung along with them in the Grove of Eglantine. And so when it came time to give an idea, I thought, this is a word that I messed up. So not a lot of people are calling themselves this word. And I thought, can it make a
good name now, basically? Yeah.
Yeah. So I put out Eglantine. Beforehand, I was on a website called Rate Your Music, and I called myself Witch Wolf, which I thought was, that sounds like a teenager trying to sound tough. So I changed it. What are my thoughts on Andrew Tate? I don't really have any, to tell you the truth. I've seen him talk, okay, but I wasn't impressed. So I didn't really gravitate, didn't really think about him. So I have no real thoughts on Andrew Tate. If he's guilty, okay, go to jail. If he's not, I think the person who accused him should go to jail.
I think he's just a slightly more charismatic and well put together version of Bruce V. Basically, that's my only position on him.
We shall forever call you Engelteen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But let's see. Some say he's guilty, others say he wasn't, and yeah. But I'm sorry, I just don't have a. He looks like what's that Spanish rapper who does the who did the song for Aquaman? He looks like his brother. I can't think of who it is.
What, Pitbull?
Pitbull, yeah, Andrew Tate looks like Pitbull's younger brother. That's the most opinion I have about Andrew Tate. If this channel still exists Saturday, there will be a comic book auction. That is true. I got some early 80s pre-crisis Supermans. I've got some good $2 and $3 books, like a Marvel Tales that has all the first issues of like Thor, X-Men, the first 4 Marvel comics. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff. Some of the stuff from last week, a lot of people say, hey, I like this, but I don't have money. And hey, it's coming back. And tomorrow I'm going to hit the warehouse sale. So whatever I could bring in from there as well. I want to get a couple of big dogs from there. Some good, nearly golden age Batmans are going to be coming. They're on sale, but now affordable to me. So yeah, some good stuff. Let's see. But yeah, there will be an auction tomorrow. I was getting it ready before we started. This was actually going to be a video. Dalton and I were talking about it, but it really was looking like it was going to be a 3-hour video. So I figured, you know what, if it's going to be that, let's go live.
No. I still have the footage, by the way, and it might wind up on my channel. And if I have my brothers, this might also wind up there.
You're more than welcome to pull this down from here and download it and put it up on your channel if you want.
Yeah. Well, actually, could you just send it to me? Because I'm not sure I could download it that way.
No clue how to do that, but I will give it a try.
Yeah,
my guess is it'll be too big.
Yeah. So when are we going to have our school spirits discussion?
Our school spirits. Oh man, yeah, we could do that. That was a pretty good TV show. Thank you for putting me onto that.
Yeah, I mean, without getting deep into it right now, but I mean that final episode. I mean, what? I mean, it completely flipped the series on its head in the last.
I am apparently out of the loop here. What the hell is School Spirits?
It's a TV show on Prime about a girl who dies at high school, and Paramount Plus. Yeah. And I get it through. I've got my Paramount Plus through Prime, but she's trying to solve her own murder as a ghost. Oh, by the way, look, Jay, you're a good guy. I like you. You're good. You're a good person, but you really shouldn't be so negative. You really shouldn't be so negative, dude. I think, you know what? Get the shouldn't out. Say should. Say could. Say can. Don't say can't.
Yeah.
Don't say can't. You speak can. It's American. It's not American.
Yeah, use that.
Don't be unpatriotic, Jay.
Jay.
Don't be unpatriotic. Be an American, not an American.
I really need to get one of those watches so I can condescendingly stare at it when he goes into show mode like this.
Ash is saying I drank a lot of spirits while I was in school. You know, I never drank it. And no, that's not true. I can't say never. Yeah, hardly ever. Making it live made it longer than a 3-hour tour, Gilligan. Well, it's still in the 2 hours. And no, we were actually at the halfway mark. We were 2 hours in. So
yeah, we were at 11 minutes and 39 seconds when we stopped it the last time.
Ash is saying, we believe in you, Jay. You definitely can auction. Yes. And he's agreeing. Good job, sir. Good job. Now let's get a hold of Nerdy Texan Accountant. There's going to be a lot of Superman in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
It was just too good of a deal to pass up, but I bought a box of Action Comics. So,
and Jay said he's going to auction tomorrow, so he's convinced. So, and seeing MK's comment there, have you seen anything in terms of pricing structure or grandfather structure for this?
Yeah, I haven't. I hope they don't f around with it, because HBO Max is one of my favorite streaming services, mainly because of the DC stuff and the Miyazaki stuff. They've got Miyazaki and DC. All right, good job, guys. You know.
Well, see, I know because I'm a dinosaur. I still have DirecTV, and so I get my HBO Max subscription because I subscribe to HBO on DirecTV. I'm hoping that doesn't change. That they're not going to try and charge me more money or discontinue that side, because the last thing I need right now is to subscribe to another streaming service.
Yeah. I got rid of a whole bunch of them. So I think I'm just straight Prime as far as that's concerned now. I got rid of the Paramount, the Showtime, Stars, for a while they were all on sale. So anytime any of them go on sale for like $3 a month for 4 months, okay, I'll grab that. But I kept Peacock. Peacock is good as well. I like their library. I got rid of Apple. Apple sucks.
Yeah. Well, Peacock just put a new show on, and actually I binged it all this afternoon.
Which one?
Mrs. Jones.
Oh, I want to see that. Yeah.
I will say this. So one of the executive producers is Damien Lindelof. The show is basically, imagine taking a J.J. Abrams spy show and putting it in the Brian Fuller Pushing Daisies universe.
Ooh, I really like Pushing Daisies. Pushing Daisies died way too soon.
Yeah. So
like so many shows.
It's
Dead
gonna
Like
be
Me
an
is another one that I
show.
wish it had gone on longer.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show if it catches on, because it's going to be one not necessarily polarizing, but just the style of the show. You're either going to like it immediately or you're going to be put off and you're going to hate it. I don't really think there's a lot of middle ground, because it has a very, very distinct style to it. But so far, as I say, 4 episodes they released 4 episodes today or Thursday, and then they'll be doing the same kind of like, episode every Thursday, kind of like what they did with Poker Face, which is a fantastic show. I think.
Yeah, I want to see that. Haven't yet.
If it's not my favorite show of
haven't heard of that
2023,
yet.
it's one of.
There are 2 shows I had to turn off. I cannot continue. One of them is that 70s show or that 90s show. I watched a couple of episodes and I'm just done. There was another one I can't remember though. Okay,
the Fresh Prince reboot was terrible. I couldn't make
that
it
was
through a single
last year.
episode.
I started watching stuff and now I'm only on 2023 because I have this illusion that I'm going to make more videos for the movie channel.
Are they still doing the Frasier continuation as well? Speaking of like edgy 90s show reboots.
What was it? Watch Rabbit Hole. Yeah, I want to see that as well. But I did stop something else. Like I was watching and I was like, I cannot do it anymore. This is just so bad. What was it? I can't remember. But yeah, that 90s show sucked.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just thought of another comparison too. Mrs. Jones, a better Hudson Hawk.
Oh, really? Okay, now you're really selling it, man. You're seriously selling it. Let's see. We watched, what the hell did we watch? We watched something. Why am I thinking it was foreign?
It could be, especially if you watch it on Netflix.
We watched Netflix. It's called Beef. That turned out to be pretty good. Last night we went and saw the Evil Dead Rise. We were going to watch the Evil Dead Rise, and then we stepped into a movie that we were going to only see about an hour and a half of, and then we were going to go over and we were going to watch Renfield, which we haven't seen. But we ended up watching so much of the second one that we were like, yeah, we're good. So I still haven't seen Renfield, but I watched Evil Dead Rise and something called Chevalier. It's what is it? Biopic. It's a biopic.
Yeah.
Historical fiction.
Yeah. Evil Dead Rise is Evil Dead. And it is... it's got everything you want from an Evil Dead movie. It has good atmosphere, great acting, by the way. I really like the acting in this film. It's got lots and lots of gore. It goes over the top. When I was talking to my wife, when I was talking to Gail, I said, but there was something that was missing. Something was missing. And today I watched the reboot and I realized what it was. I kind of said it was relentless, but the truth is, and here's the thing: when I watch the reboot of Evil Dead, which I love that reboot. Here's the thing:
we disagree
Dalton,
on that. I think.
Let me finish, okay? The reason why I love that reboot, it was brutal and it was relentless. And while this new one had great atmosphere and it had great acting, didn't, because there was a time it didn't give me that feeling of brutality. It didn't give me that feeling of relentlessness. Like I actually verbally said stop at the reboot. I was in the theater. There are other people around me. I went stop, because every time a character would come as something gruesome, and it just felt like it was nonstop, and you cared about the characters, you cared about who was winning, and I think that was what was missing from this one. It's a good film. It's entertaining. It is an Evil Dead film, but it is almost like an Evil Dead by paint by numbers. You know, like everything that's supposed to be in an Evil Dead movie is there. If you like the Evil Dead, you're going to enjoy this. That being said, it's everything you've seen before without bringing in anything new. And it doesn't have that brutal feeling. And I'm thinking, if you're not going to go brutal like the reboot, then go campy like the original. And it's good, but it's there you go.
Honestly, Cabin in the Woods was a better Evil Dead reboot than the 2012 Evil Dead reboot.
If you think so, you think so. But personally, I loved that reboot, and mainly it's for that brutality. Mainly it's for that.
Well, but see, that's part of the thing. When I go to Evil Dead, I go for a horror comedy. I don't go for a straight horror. I go for the over the top Sam Raimi-ishness of it all.
I mean, they've got humor in it, but it isn't like it isn't Ash. I mean, Ash is gone. Ash did his time. Bruce Campbell did his time as Ash. They had a great TV series end his run on it. Now they're doing movies that are a little bit more serious, as far as, and sometimes a lot more serious than that.
Yeah,
one.
and I don't need that. I don't need the.
Okay.
I don't
But
need
for those
the
of us who do,
serious rendition of it.
but for those of us who do, this one does the trick. It's a decent one. Ash is saying no Ash no equals no Evil Dead. Okay, if you want to go that way. But I love that reboot, and I liked this movie. So there you go. I'll do a more well thought out review for it sometime.
I'm gonna have to watch it so I can be the contrary voice, aren't I?
Go on ahead. See if it isn't on the high seas yet. Guys, it is 2.5 hours into this. I'm already going to have to edit this tail end out. Plus, I think I'm going to break it down for those who didn't stay through the entire thing. Thanks for
I'm going to
hanging
try
out
to
with us.
keep the unedited version on my channel if anyone wants the unedited version.
Well, if I edit any segments out, it'll be for repetition, and it'll be for ands and ums. I say a lot, so I try to get that out when I put out a video. So there you go. Let's see what's going on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, England Teen Standard Time is the auction. On Sunday, I always say on Sunday, if we do anything, it'll be done at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Usually a tier list of some sorts. Monday is our open night, but also on Sunday, check out Extreme Movie Show with VENKMAN. And let's see, Monday night is our open night. Okay, Tuesday is our game. You know, I should do a video that just announces everything. It'd be easier. Anywho, thank you to LK for coming on and helping out with the commentary. Thank you for Dalton. Did I say 2024? Okay, and thank you for Dalton for joining in, and thank you to the actual fandom for providing such a dumbass video that gave us 2 hours and damn near 2.5 hours worth of fun and content. I want to listen to the full experience before it's edited into chunks. Ben is calling to me, so it's all righty. That being said, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a great night, and see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Cheers, guys.
8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern.